I'm Beatrice Galno Nadeau. I was born in a tiny town in the Gaspé 100 years ago. 1918, the war ended then. I brought peace to the world, maybe. And the name of the town is called Percy, and I'm sure you know all about La Gaspésie. And so I'm here tonight with my friends and family, and we'll have a wonderful time. To you and to you. They called me B and B. Grace Beatrice, yes, after my mother and my grandmother. I don't get my name from too many people. My grandmother Sheridan, well, she became Grace Pigeon. My mother's name was Beatrice. When she was a little girl, her father loved birds, and she would imitate the birds and say, chip, 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 chip. The name stuck to her, and they'd call her Chip, and then they started calling her Chippy. So she never got the name Beatrice. I got it, yeah. My mother was a Sheridan. Her family came from Ireland. They were in Quebec City. They owned real estate in Quebec City. My father, well, his roots are from Quebec. He lived on one side of the street in Percy, and my mother lived on the opposite side, facing each other. They went to school together. And mother's father was a doctor, did the whole Gaspé coast with a horse and buggy. He has quite a history, this man. That's my ancestors. When I was born, I'm sure my father must have been a bit disappointed. He was, 2 girls in a row and then no boy, and then another girl appears. But he never, I don't know, he never made me feel that I wasn't welcome. He adored. I got along very well with my father. I had 2 sisters ahead of me. They didn't want me around too much. They told me to go to bed. I was to stay home or something to that effect. And then my 2 brothers were younger than I was, and they were both lawyers. Good personalities, sometimes hard to cope with because being lawyers, they like to argue. And we all like to argue. My sister Carol had a family of 8 children. My sister Anita, she had 1 daughter, Valerie, and myself, I had none, and my brothers had children. Junior had 4 boys. Vincent had 3 children. That's enough about my brothers and sisters. This is about me tonight. We had beautiful dogs, an Irish setter, and also another black and tan, I think it was called. They grew up with us. They were very attached to my dad. And we lived not far from a church, and when the bell rang at noon for the Angelus, well, the dogs knew they'd go down to the courthouse and escort my dad back to our home for lunch. The dogs didn't have to be told. They already knew when the bell rang, down they went. Such a lovely dog. Well, when I was about 10 or 11, we were sent off to the Ursulines to convent. So I wanted to go to a school when I was very young because my sisters were going and I had to stay home. And so finally, one of my uncles was friendly with the school teacher, and he arranged that I could go to school. She accepted that I could be, even though I was only 4.5. So I'd go to school whenever I had the opportunity, I guess. Somebody else was going. I was quite happy at school. And I did this for a few years. And then as I got older, we had to leave every September and go down to the Gaspé, to the Ursulines. We'd come back at Christmas for 2 weeks, and then we'd go back and come back in June. Then as I got older, I found it was kind of boring, not much to do in Percy. So I decided I could go and live with one of my aunts and go to school and go to the mother house, because I had very good marks at school. Never failed or anything. I had my memory. That is what saved me, because I'd see something and I'd remember. And I could go back a week later and still remember That has vanished a little bit, not completely. I still have quite a good memory, but not like when I was younger. I think I was 18, and I decided I would like to move to Montreal, but I had a way with my aunt. She accepted that I go and live with her. My father paid my board every month, and I've lived with my aunt. She was very good to me, and she had children of my age, and we got along very well. Oh, I loved Montreal, loved going to the movies every Friday night, 25 cents for the movie, and you see 2 movies. I found it was a good experience for me with my sister Carol. She went to the mother house, and I went looking for a job, and I got a job very easily. And that was how I started my career in the city of Montreal. I got a job in the building at the corner of Peel and Sherbrooke. Very nice home that had been converted into offices. The arrangement was that I would work 4 days a week for a little while until sort of a test period, and after that I would be permanent. And everything worked out well, except that my boss at the time was very nervous and very slow, and it used to get on my nerves because I felt, well, this is hard, waiting for someone to make up his mind. But I got adjusted, and I worked with this gentleman for about 30 years, got on very well, progressed, took all kinds of courses, developed into quite a good experienced person in executive search, which is the hiring of people. I retired when I was 65. My career was good. It was interesting. It was easy enough for me because I enjoyed what I was doing. There was a diamond merchant, and working for them was my friend Andre Ferland, very young, younger than I am, 13 years. She worked next door, and we sort of became friendly. I was at her wedding, saw her when her children were born, and we became very close friends. And she's here with us tonight, sitting at the table. She's my friend Andre, and we're still very good friends after, I guess it's almost 70 years that we've been friends. Salut, Andre. As I'm limited in my activities, do a lot of reading. I watch TV, enjoy the movies, a good movie. We go once a week, every Tuesday. I do a lot of phone calling, and people call me. I enjoy life. I do what I can according to my ability. Can't do more than that. I love Chinese food, but I love Italian food best of all. Music, Chopin. Chopin and Beethoven. The new singers, Shania Twain. Yes, I like Adele. I love Ginette Renault. I like her as a personality because she's warm and not complicated. She's above board. You know, what you see is what you get with Ginette Renault. And I like her voice and her songs, very romantic. Céline Dion, plus ou moins. She yells too much for me. A favorite movie? I like a historical movie that has a little bit of substance to it. I also like romantic movies, nice love stories. Pastime, I'd say it would be reading. I have so many magazines and newspapers that I don't have time to read a book. L'actualité is what I read. Novels are a waste of time for me. Well, unless they're very classical and very good, but I find all these love stories, you close the book and there's nothing left. My favorite color is blue. Anything that's blue, I love blue. Navy or lighter blue. Look at my blue shoes. I love the smell of good fresh air in Calgary. The last time I was in Calgary, I couldn't get off a plane, and the air was so fresh. Also the smell of freshly cut grass has a lovely aroma to it. Perfume, La Vie est Belle, or J'adore of Christian Dior. Favorite liquor, I'd say, is red wine, a good red wine. The summer, I think gin is nice, or vodka and tonic that's nice too. I used to like martinis, but now they're too heavy for me. They're too potent. The fall of the year. It's so beautiful. Those colors are magnificent. Unbelievable, eh? The daughter of one of my cousins recommended that I should get a greeting from the Queen and also a lovely letter, tout en français, from the Governor-General. By the way, anybody can get that. All they have to do is write in and ask for it. I read about it recently. But it's nice. It was a nice gesture. I was very happy about that. Tabernacle, is that what they say? On a toujours parlé les deux langues chez moi. Mon père était bilingue, ma mère était bilingue. On parlait, mais la langue maternelle, c'était l'anglais. Mais on a toujours parlé les deux langues. On est allé à l'école, puis on a étudié en français. Roger et moi, on aimait beaucoup la Floride, puis on allait en couple. Anita, ma sœur, est venue avec nous, et puis surtout après la mort de son mari. Ensuite, Valérie est venue une ou deux fois. À un moment donné, elle s'était prise d'un grand monsieur qui était qui était gérant d'un hôtel. On a eu peur, sa mère et moi, parce que cet homme-là le trouvait bien de son goût, puis il l'avait rencontré, il voulait lui offrir un poste. Alors on était inquiets, on a dit non, il est trop vieux pour elle. Puis ça a été une aventure pour Valérie, mais on a eu bien du plaisir au Colonnades Beach. Well, Roger's the one I love the most, yes, and that I married, but I had many other boyfriends. I was never seriously involved that I was broken-hearted. Maybe a little bit of sorrow, some fellows that I liked. But on the whole, once I met Roger, I was very happy for many years until we parted. I was on vacation in Bermuda. One evening at our hotel, we found there was an awful lot of noise and people laughing and people talking loud. It was Roger and Art Leonard, who was a TV announcer in Cornwall, and they were friends. They were the ones causing the ruckus in the dining room because they were having such a good time. This gentleman, I didn't know his name, but came over and said, I heard the name Garneau. And I know a Monique Garneau. Is she a relative of yours? I said, yes, she's my first cousin. Always said, I'm friendly with her. And she was married to a movie star, Jean Coutu. We agreed to meet the next day. We met, and he left, and we stayed in Bermuda, my friend and I, for another week. But then he was supposed to meet me at the airport when I got back from Bermuda. And I arrived on a Sunday. It was 3 o'clock in the afternoon coming in from Bermuda, and he was not at the airport. I was angry. I was so angry. I've been stood up, and that's not right. And I said, that can't be. No one's going to do that to me. The phone rings, 9 o'clock at night, and we had a doorman at that building, and the doorman said, someone came here looking for you this afternoon, but he couldn't remember the name of your apartment. And I didn't know whether you knew him or not, so I told him to call later. Then he gave my number to Roger, and that's how he called me and agreed to meet me the next day for lunch. And we met at the 400 Club, and he, in order to redeem himself, he brought me a nice lighter, and the lighter played La Vie en Rose. That sort of, then we became friends again. That's when he told me he'd already been married and he had a daughter, Claudette, who is here tonight also. We waited to get married and we had a very happy life, and I lost him a few years ago, several years ago, in 2005. A favorite childhood memory? I have a bad one. I was sick, indigestion, and I was accused of eating the whole box of chocolates. And I hadn't had one of those chocolates, but because I was sick, they sort of blamed me. And I never always remembered I'd been blamed for something I had never done. I hadn't touched the chocolates, but I got blamed for eating the chocolates. And that stuck with me for a long time. Helped me to be careful when you blame people for doing things, because sometimes you're innocent, but no one wants to listen to you. Try to enjoy life. Life is a gift. Appreciate the gift that you get. You can't do anything about it. It's a gift. So make the most of it. That's my advice to most people. And try to be happy. There are other people who maybe have worse problems than you, and they're doing much better. Do it. Don't hesitate. I could have done more for certain people, that I could have helped more. That's the only regret I have. I tried to do the best I could. I don't think I have too many serious regrets. I enjoyed life. I like people. 95% of people are 100% okay. It's only 5% of the bastards that you want to choke. You have no patience with. But on the whole, people are good. Bonsoir. Je suis très heureuse que vous soyez ici avec moi pour partager ma joie et le plaisir que j'ai de vous rencontrer et de célébrer 100 ans de vie. C'est énorme. Thank you very much for being here to help me celebrate my 100th anniversary. I'm very fortunate to have lived this long. I hope I continue. Thank you for sharing my pleasure with me. Vive la vie. Let's enjoy life. That's it. That's good.
Siempre que te pregunto que cuándo, cómo y dónde, tú siempre me respondes, quizás, quizás.